Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kerri Stewart. I am a registered dietitian over at Spartanburg Medical Center with the Heart Resource Center, and this is our monthly Veg Edge. Thank you so much for joining us. I am really excited to introduce a special guest this month. We have Paul Newhouse, the president of Union Medical Center, in the kitchen, and he is going to prepare a dish that he has really taken to. Before we get started, I would also like to introduce Misty Sloan, who is in the back. She is part of our employee wellness and health program. She is doing the question and answer segment, the chat bar. So if there's any questions that you have for Paul or myself, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat and Misty will let us know. We will get to that as well. And so without further ado, because I am hungry, but this is also really beautiful and I can't wait to smell what is about to happen in this kitchen. Paul reminded me that actually when we transitioned during COVID to virtual veg edges, he joined back in January of 2021. So a little more than 2 years ago. And that had started him down this plant-based path that he's not jumping off of anytime soon, I don't think. So we love to hear that and hear your stories about what speaks to you when it comes to plant-based nutrition as well. It's certainly not an all or nothing thing, and we're just glad that you're here following along with us and joining us in what we're creating every month, because everyone has such good ideas and everyone has such different taste buds. So coconut mango curry with chickpeas is what Paul is going to prepare for us today.
Thank you, Kerri, and it's a pleasure to be here. Like you said, when I joined the Veg Edge in January, just over 2 years ago, I never had any clue about going vegetarian or anything. And I remember even asking you, well, can we go 50% or 60%? Well, I went home and read one of the resources that you gave, which was the China study.
Okay.
That was a Thursday night. I downloaded it. By Saturday, I went 100% vegetarian, and I mean, it's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you told me, well, give it 14 days. You'll be able to tell the difference and see how that goes. Well, after 8 days, all of a sudden I had more energy. I just felt a lot better. You didn't have that bloated feeling. It was quite a remarkable. So then I said, well, just keep going. And then your taste buds start changing, and you start looking at resources and looking up amazing meals. So that's one of the things. I mean, you have so many vegetarian meals that are just so delicious that people don't really even pay attention to before. But I really like interesting different foods. So that's why I'm here, and I'm looking forward to cooking this with you. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right.
So the first thing that we got to do is we're going to prepare the sauce first. So we've got an onion. I'll do this part.
Okay.
Hopefully I won't cut anything up, but we're going to cut it in half, basically.
Come on this side.
And then chop it up. But the good thing is, going in the blender, we don't have to, dice it really tiny. And I'm trying to use some of your techniques that you.
There we go.
On other. I never used this knife before. I had a whole set, and I was like, why is that curved? I always use that flat one until you explain how you roll it and that sort of thing. And to let you know, we have washed our hands beforehand several times, 3 times already. So
thank you.
That's very important to do.
My skin is dried out already. But yes, normally I do wash my hands for good TV. So thank you for pointing that out.
So I guess we'll just go ahead and put this in here.
Okay.
First thing is the onions. So we're going to just do half the onion. And of course, always use the back side of the blade. I never did that either before Kerri taught that. Okay, and then we've got the ginger. Now this is a bit challenging. So we were talking about whether you try to peel it, and I guess, sometimes I'll just get a knife and try to scrape off some of the edge, because it's hard to get into.
I know the recipe says 2 inches of ginger. So would you say that, are we going to throw this whole root in there?
I mean, I like ginger.
I like ginger too.
If you're going to throw it away, let's just throw it all in.
Agreed.
So that's good enough. I don't think you need to, but I will cut it a little bit. And again, we don't have to dice it really small, I don't think.
No, not if it's going in a blender.
Never use this blender other than making a mess.
It smells good already, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I love ginger.
Fresh ginger is so anti-inflammatory. And I think that's a really good point. We did scrub off all of our produce in advance as well. So I did take a produce brush to the ginger since it does have those little nooks and crannies, and that's why I like using the brush on it. But especially in a sauce where we're blending all these other flavors together, we don't really need to be so persistent at getting every little bit of the skin of the ginger off. So
here's another technique I never did until watching Kerri in class. Is easy way to peel the garlic is to put it under this big knife and then just squash it, roll it around a little bit, and then it all. Of course, now that I'm doing it live, it's not going to work as easily. Yeah, but see how easy that it just comes off very easily, and I'll get the trash can down here.
I'm so impressed with everything that you're already showing me. You've learned so much.
Well, please don't make a mistake that I'm a great chef or anything. My wife loves to cook, which is really good, so she enjoys cooking. But I like to cook as well, and look through recipe books and find something very interesting we've never seen before, and just try it out. And just about everything I've tried is, I've been, wow, this is amazing. So so I've got a book. So all the ones I particularly like, I've got several books. I don't know if you can see this, but you can see I've got in plastic containers here. I save all those so you can get it up here and not make too much of a mess.
Yeah.
So what's next on our list? Garlic.
Garlic. Okay, so we got our onion, ginger, and garlic in our blender. Does it matter what kind of onion it is?
I've done sweet. I haven't tried the red, and I've done a regular oven. And it's when it's all blended in, it doesn't really.
I wouldn't say so.
I mean, I like both of them, so it really doesn't matter.
I wonder if the red would
color it more.
I was going to say the red could probably do one of two things. It might make it a more beautiful color, or it might make it very brown. I'm not sure. Yeah. So we're going to add the mango next as well.
Okay, so the mango. So we've got some frozen mango, which makes it easy. But since this is an important step, and really until recently, I'd never tried to do anything with a mango, so I had to watch a few YouTube videos. So apparently, and you can correct me if you don't like this, it's easiest to cut off a little end to make it flat that you can stand it up on.
Yes, such a good safety tip.
Now this one's a little bit more difficult. You're supposed to be able to tell which is the fat side and which is the skinny side, and I'm having a hard time telling on this one because of the way it's shaped. Because all the meat is on the fat side, and then there's a narrow side where there's so you think I'm cutting like this? Or like that?
I think,
I guess I'll find out.
I was going to say.
So what you do, there's a big pit of some kind that takes almost the whole central part of it, and you got to kind of guess where that is, and then you're going to run into it like that. I just ran into it. So either we roll it there, and I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that pit part. So this might be
the fat side.
The fat side here, but this is an oddly, see that went through. Normally, you can dramatically tell one side's pretty skinny and then it's fat. So it's
that's actually a really good point. When I was in the store shopping for all of this, what I was really just looking for was one that seemed ripe enough to be able to even show you, because I know mango can be very bitter and harder to cut if it's not ripe. So what I did was walk around looking for one that gave like a peach, and hopefully I picked a good one. Okay.
Your knife is sharper than mine. So one of the things, again, on YouTube I learned is you kind of cut it like that and then cut it into squares again.
Okay.
And then you just kind of peel it like that, and look, it all just pops out. And then you can.
Oh, you do it with your hands. Nice. Okay. Here, I can do that.
I mean, you can do it with a knife, but you can also.
Yeah.
Since I did wash my hands 3 times beforehand, I think we're okay.
So this would make for a great is this how you might make mango salsa, or
definitely for
I guess I was thinking for a sauce too. One of the things I like about frozen mango is that generally speaking, I did actually get this mango on sale, but generally speaking, a bag of frozen mango can cost as much as one fresh mango. So it's a lot more affordable. And in something like a sauce where we're blending it all together, that's kind of where my mind went, was we do need 10.5 ounces of chopped peeled mango, which I find to be a very funny amount. So how many mangoes would you normally use if you're using fresh?
I mean, I only use one, and that's been
okay.
plenty. So
okay.
If you want to grab that and bite into it.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh.
Fresh mango is amazing.
I haven't had fresh mango in a while, admittedly. Oh, that is good.
But it is messy. So again, I'm going to go wash my hands again.
Yeah.
If you want to look at the next thing on there. And
so we don't need any more of this frozen mango.
Yeah, I would put a little bit in there.
Okay. I'll put a little bit in there.
Just because I was probably a little bit wasteful.
And it usually, the nice thing about frozen mango too is that they definitely let it come to peak ripeness, because sometimes I'm just not very good at picking out a fresh mango, admittedly. I'm going to wash my hands now too. Oh man, that was good. I'm glad we used the fresh one.
Okay, now we're going to add all the spices. So fortunately, we've already measured them all here. So we're going to start out with coriander. There's quite a lot, 1.5 tablespoons. Throwing that here in ground cumin, 1 teaspoon.
You know, one of the things I'm going to do actually is preheat our pot too, because it takes a while. So I should have done that at the beginning.
Now you might want to. I put turmeric on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You want to explain why that's beneficial?
So one of these days I should bring in the actual root of the turmeric. It is related to ginger, so it looks very similar to the ginger roots. It's bigger and it has that more orange color, but when you start to peel it, that's when you see the really deep orange color. Turmeric is one of the most anti-inflammatory spices that we can eat. So the interesting thing about it is that it does need a little bit of fat to help you absorb those good anti-inflammatory compounds, and it also needs a little bit of black pepper. So one thing that is not in this recipe is black pepper, but one thing you could easily garnish your dish at the very end with is black pepper. So that way we'll absorb it better. But usually it just gives a lot of color. In these smaller quantities, you're not going to taste it, but the recommendation from Dr. Michael Greger, I don't know if you follow him much, but Daily Dozen would be 1/4 teaspoon of dried turmeric in the spice jar a day. So that's not too much to add to anything. And how many servings?
It depends on how much.
How hungry you are.
Also like how much vegetables stock you put in. I tend to make it pretty thin. I like a lot of sauce.
Yeah.
Now here's a step before we add the coconut milk.
Okay.
It says to blitz everything, and I never really knew what blitz meant, but I just zap it for a little bit, or
yeah,
what?
I think
what does
this mean? Seems like it's going to be good at blitzing.
I mean, do you let it go for a while or what? See, it's not really mixing that great.
Yeah.
Mine really mixes it well.
It might need a little more liquid actually to be able to.
Well, that's the next step. So that's.
Do you want to mix it and blitz it one more time or no?
I mean, when we put the mix, I mean, to me, it's going to do it anyway. That's what I don't really understand why they tell you to do.
Sometimes we can rewrite recipes to make them easier for what we have in our own household or what we're working with in our visiting kitchen.
And one of the great things about this recipe is, at the end is chickpeas and vegetables, but you can add all sorts of vegetables, whatever you have in stock.
Yeah.
Again, I tend to go a bit crazy. So like I made this yesterday for practice too last night. And so red peppers, green peppers, cauliflower, onions, snow peas, carrots, and broccoli. That's a whole lot.
Okay, you put all those in there.
I did put all that in there.
Nice.
It's very colorful, looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Tastes amazing. Okay, so now we're going to try to see now it's.
That's beautiful.
Till it's smooth. You think that's smooth enough?
Yeah. And we can always, I can
stir
it some and just get all these spices. I don't want to miss any spices. Oh yeah, wow. That's nice and creamy. I've never used fruit in a sauce like this before, I don't think. And it's such a brilliant idea. I think that's honestly really good. Oh, this smells delicious.
So one of the maybe problems when you go whole food plant-based is like going out to restaurants. A lot of, there are limited menus in a lot of places. So, I find Thai restaurants, even Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, Mexican restaurants have a lot of really great choices. Well, now we're going to let this sit and we're going to jump to the next step, and that is starting to, I guess we've already got that heating a little bit. If you want to put a little of the vegetable stock, since we're not using oil. Okay. And you do it till it's smoking hot, and then we're going to add the vegetables just like a stir fry. So I'm going to let you.
Don't think it's smoking hot
do that
just yet.
Well, so if you want to be cutting that, and I will continue to cut carrots. Okay.
Should I cut? Should I use the other half of our onion?
Yeah. We got to cut that as well.
Do you think?
No, she's going to go a lot faster. I'm going to try to go fast just so I don't look so bad. But I'm.
No, I am not going to go fast because I am not going to.
If I get close to my fingers, I slow down dramatically.
Yes. Safety first.
Try to use that claw method. There's not a whole lot of.
I know. What do you think? Slices or chunks or?
I like slices.
Okay. I can do some slices. I
know there's got to be a lot of different ways to cut peppers.
Yeah, actually, I'm interested to see.
And I've done it different ways. Is that the sharp side? It would help to do the sharp side. Yeah.
The one thing maybe what we can do is empty out this bowl over here and put our finished veggies in there. We do have some green onions for garnish. And we did leave the skin on the carrots because it's just going into the stir fry. If you're going to eat a raw carrot, you may want to take the skin off because it can be a little more bitter. But otherwise, in something like this with all this really flavorful sauce, you're not going to be able to tell the bitterness. So one of the things that I'm going to do with my broccoli is actually just do this by hand. I don't know if you ever do that. Sometimes I find it's a lot easier. Yeah. So as I'm struggling to pull it apart. But this is also a great activity for kids or grandkids if you have them around. So really what you find is that it naturally breaks where it's supposed to. And some of these are really big chunks. So I'm going to try and kind of like any recipe with whether we're roasting or whether we're stir frying or no matter what we're doing, I'm going to try to make them all pretty similar in size so that they cook evenly. But it's pretty neat how it just kind of divides where it's supposed to naturally. Does anyone have any questions for Paul yet?
Or Kerri.
Or Kerri. Or Misty. All right. So we've got yellow, green, orange, white, brown. Got your. What are we missing? Red. So we could have done a red bell pepper, perhaps. Instead.
Yeah, I do the red and green mainly. To me, they have more taste. The yellow, to me, I don't know what it is. It's not as tasty. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm talking about when I'm eating a salad or something. If I eat that, it doesn't have. I mean, the red is my favorite taste. Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah. One of the things that this dish is going to be chock full of is vitamin C. So we've got vitamin C in the mango in very high quantities, in the bell pepper in very high quantities, the broccoli.
Is this hot?
As well. I was going to say, yep.
So we're going to start eating this. Yeah, it's very hot.
All right.
We're going to let this warm up. I'm going to add a little bit more of that in a minute.
Okay. I'm just kind of taking my time, but I might finish it off.
Broccoli's got all kinds of great.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those cruciferous vegetables. So there's a lot of anti-inflammatory action going on here. A lot of these are very immune boosting. So that vitamin C helps with our immune system. It helps with wound healing. But in terms of cancer prevention as well, mango and those orange foods are really, really great for that. So we've got lots of orange going on in here too. I made a mess with my broccoli doing it that way, but I did just want to show you sometimes you don't have to use a knife.
So you talked about anti-inflammatory. One of the things that I, without even knowing it, I ran into going vegetarian like this is, I started having arthritis in my hand.
Okay.
I mean, within 6 months, 9 months, it's been gone since then.
No
It's really
kidding.
it's pretty cool. So
that's amazing.
And then April is my birthday.
All right. Oh, happy
So I already
birthday,
had my birthday, but that means I also had my lab work done.
Yes.
And I was very excited. My A1C was 5.2, which was previously, it had actually been 4.9 back in 2019. So 5.2 was a great drop. I was very excited. So 5.7 is like on the verge of going pre-diabetic. So, and then my cholesterol is down to 123, which is
congratulations.
Amazing
That's
too.
Incredible.
So
yeah. So the fiber, and that's the thing about a lot of these plant-based foods is that it's not just the fiber that will bind to your bad cholesterol, your LDL, and bring that down. A lot of times it's the oxidation, it's the inflammatory processes of the LDL that get that plaque buildup started. So we do have the ability to actually halt heart disease, prevent any type of event from happening like a heart attack, and then potentially even reverse it in that way. So as long as we're continuing to fuel our body with all of these anti-inflammatory foods, it will start to reverse some of these processes, which is really neat. You think you'll need more water? I can get some water.
I'm trying to get more heat. So we were talking about these eyes are really kind of too small.
Yeah, for our big pot.
It doesn't feel like it's getting as hot evenly as we would like it. It's taking a little bit
Once
more time.
Once it gets hot, it's very hot, but sometimes it takes a minute to get there.
These.
Yes.
Not sure if I'm wearing right, but.
There we go. One of the things that I would save this, that's why I keep eyeing this piece of broccoli, but I would save this part for making homemade vegetable broth. Do you ever do that?
Yeah, I have not.
Okay.
They're on sale at Lidl. My wife keeps buying them. We got these 5 containers already made.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's one of those things where when you start eating more plant foods and you start seeing how much food scraps you have, the nice thing about it is I'll take a Ziploc bag and save parts like this, some that might look a little bit funky or on their way out, not totally rotten, but the bottom of the mushrooms, the peels of the onions, the peels of the garlic. And so it does take me probably 3 months or so, maybe less, to actually get 2 full-size gallon Ziploc bags of the food scraps. And then I just throw them all in a pot, fill it up with about 2/3 of water, put 2 bay leaves in, add a couple of fresh cloves of garlic, and then there's my unsalted vegetable broth. So you bring it to a boil, let it simmer for an hour, give or take. But again, you kind of can't mess it up. So remove all those food scraps, and I store it in just ball jars or whatever.
So what we're trying to do now, this is like a stir fry with all the vegetables. We just want to get them a little bit softer. So in fact, I was thinking last night when I was doing this, I don't know what you think. It'd be nice to have a wok maybe to do a stir fry.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, we don't have any woks here.
Well, I don't have one at home either. I did years ago, but.
You know where we actually got one from that was very affordable and has held up for a really long time was $8. Was from IKEA.
Okay.
So it's a big old wok too. It's huge. So.
Okay. All right. The heat's coming on now, so it's getting a little bit softer here.
So you are
another couple minutes
sautéing your vegetables, and then I love how it says until smoking hot. so really, we're just softening the veggies, and then we are adding our sauce later.
So that'll be the next step. As soon as we think they are soft and ready, we're going to go ahead and add the mango and the chickpeas.
Okay, the chickpeas, right? Can't forget those. Our source of protein. Although vegetables have a decent amount of protein as well, actually. So we don't talk about that too much, but we'll get plenty. And then Paul and I have actually decided to use barley for the bottom of our bowls. So we wanted a grain that will also help absorb this delicious sauce that we're using. We have not added in any salt yet. Would you like to do that?
I think it's kind of toward the end. Right?
Okay.
The last step, it says to add salt. For some reason, it says it's very important. I don't generally add salt to anything.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much natural salt and different things you get. So
what we use for this broth is these are little bouillon cubes. So this is low sodium garden veggie. They're individually wrapped. I think there were 8 of them. So the recipe said that if you wanted your sauce to be a little bit thinner, that you could add that 1 cup of broth. So we did choose to do that. And then, so half of a cube makes 1 cup of broth. So I went ahead, made the whole cube, so 2 cups. So then we used 1 cup in making our barley as well. So barley is actually one of the grains that is highest in soluble fiber. That is what binds to our LDL cholesterol. That bad cholesterol helps get that out. So we've got our whole grains going on there. We've got our vegetables hitting it. We've got our beans and all the fiber from them that are going to hit it. And
so
we've got our
I'm going to move this over so maybe you can look inside.
Yeah.
Can you see inside? So it's very colorful. And like I said, you can add all kinds of other vegetables. I added mushrooms to it.
Yeah.
Last night, and again, red peppers.
We could get them all if we did red peppers and purple cabbage.
Yep, that'd be fabulous. All right. It looks pretty soft to me. What do you think?
It looks. Yeah,
I don't like mine squishy. So
I was just getting ready to say that. It looks, the broccoli has a really vibrant color. So.
Okay, so now. Okay, now I probably didn't leave enough of that, but so now we just pour this in. And to me, like I said, we like lots of sauce. So first I would like to throw in the rest of this.
That's a good idea.
I had more of it last time. Wash it around. That helps.
Do you want a little bit of water?
Do you have any soy milk?
Oh, that's a good idea. No,
I actually added soy milk to it.
Okay.
That was my wife's idea. I must give her credit for that.
That's a good idea.
So my wife is a really good cook, and she likes to make recipes up on the go too. So she's really good at that. So
that's an amazing skill that some people just have, and I aspire to get there one day, but I am not there yet. All right. Well, unfortunately, we used our last
stir this up, and then we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of those chickpeas to it. Okay. So if you want to just pour those in.
Right. Oh, it smells awesome. Set these aside. The nice thing about more than one person in the kitchen is that somebody can kind of be cleaning as you go. But when I get in my kitchen, I make a full mess and then clean it all up at the end.
I generally, when you can, try to clean as I go so I don't get left with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep. I'm going to.
But I don't like my hands getting all messy, so I have to stop and wash them all the time.
Yep. Well, and sometimes that can be a safety issue, right? I'm looking at our station right here. So before I even attempt to dice up some of these green onions for garnish later, I'm just cleaning up our station because a messy station can actually be a recipe for disaster. So we're going to maybe bring that to a simmer. Is that what we do?
Yep.
Okay.
So we got to, and then it's just about ready after that. So let's see.
Okay.
Stir, and when at a lively simmer, reduce the heat to medium high and cook for 10 minutes until thickened. So we're just about there. I'm going to turn it up because it's not really.
Yeah, sometimes
see a little bit of movement. We're not used to this cooktop here, so.
Yep.
Or I'm not.
It does take. All right, so I am going to rock my knife gently back and forth, all in my wrist here, to cut up these green onions. What are some other things that you might garnish your dish with?
Parsley, I guess, something like that.
Parsley? Do you like cilantro?
Rosemary. Oh, cilantro would be good. I think, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't bring any of that. I meant to bring peanuts. I liked that idea too. As a little extra.
I do put that in there a lot.
Protein. These are more scraps, so I would also add these to my vegetable stock bag, freezer bag, the bottoms of these green onions, although you can also regrow them. So if you set them in a little cup of water and you don't cut all the way down, they'll actually start to regrow. So I'd say you can get maybe 2 or 3 reuses out of them before they're a little slimy.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, useful in that way. And the lime here I can cut up while I'm also cutting. So one of the things that I do to get the most lime juice, sometimes some of the limes are just hard as rocks when you're in the store, or oranges or lemons. So if you take your palm and you roll the citrus kind of back and forth, it'll actually loosen up the fibers of the fruit, and then you'll be able to squeeze even more out of it. So I'm just going to do that. And then this does have an interesting little stem that I'm going to remove before cutting down. So do you normally, before I even cut it, when do you add your lime and how do you normally do that?
Just squeeze it in when we think it's finished and then stir it up.
So I was getting ready to do wedges, thinking that everyone would have one on their plate, but actually
I think you pour it into the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to show a couple resources that I love. So I always go to the grocery stores every quarter. I think they come out. Forks Over Knives is
nice.
Whole food, plant-based, and it's just full of beautiful recipes. They got all kinds of different categories in here. At the end, there's like an index.
Nice.
I'll show you, and it comes. I mean, I've got a stack that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm a very visual person. Sometimes it's hard looking at a cookbook if it doesn't have a photo that really entices you. It's not as easy. But there's some amazing treats in here, and so it's nice to go on a Saturday morning or go, what do we want today? Let's try something different, and you find in a certain category.
Yeah.
The other thing, my sister actually bought this for me just over a year ago. Those are amazing. So this is the America's Test Kitchen Complete Plant-Based Cookbook. And it's like 446 pages. And it's really interesting because they have a really, if you look them up, they've got this literally a test kitchen that they try out all different products and things and see what works. And then they come up with these recipes that they design and figure out, test to see. So again, all different kinds of categories.
That's awesome.
Some amazing recipes that I love from that too. So just if you're interested, check those out.
I think those are great tips. Do you find that some of these recipes are really involved, or are they?
I mean, some of them are. So like there are a couple. The first one that came to mind I was going to do here is like, well, that takes way too long. It's not a simple process. You got several steps in a blender. You're moving things, but it's a cauliflower, cream cauliflower soup.
Okay. Yum. That sounds delicious.
With curry. I missed the curry in there. Cream cauliflower curry soup or something. Okay. It is like the most amazing soup. So I've loved doing that a couple times in the winter, but it takes a ridiculous amount of time. Because I didn't realize this when you're cooking cauliflower, you like cook it, half of it for one length of time and the other half at another length of time.
Okay.
I can't remember if it's the shorter period or the longer one. It turns out sweeter. And if you do it the other length of time, there's another taste to it. And then you blend them together. So I never would have guessed that. But I guess America's Test Kitchen told me about that. Okay, you want to throw in the lemon? I mean the lime.
Sure.
So it looks like this is ready.
Yeah. I'm just squeezing it by hand. Getting it everywhere. So are you a soup in the summer guy or just a soup in the winter guy?
I mean, definitely more in the winter, but there are times when I like it. And
yeah, you could do it either way.
Especially, so I have a Vitamix, which I got on Amazon Prime Day at a ridiculously cheap price. So if you want one, they are amazing.
Yeah.
Blenders. Yeah. And it's a really nice one, digital, push all the buttons. And I kind of went overboard and also got the digital scales. So you can have an app and make a design, and it tells you how much to put like in grams. Well, I don't know how much a gram, but you've got a digital scale that's connected to the blender somehow. Okay. And you just add in the ingredients and it's measuring and it tells you stop. That's the right amount. Then you add the next bit.
Nice.
And then you put, I mean, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah,
always been perfect on the measurements.
Sounds like it has a learning curve a little bit.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
That is cool. All right. So we did.
Oh, and the other thing with that is, like, I don't know if all of them do, but there's a high speed that makes soup too. So it gets to 10, it turns on a blower to keep the engine cool, but it makes it whatever you have in there hot. So it'll make the hot soup right in there, and that's really good.
I've seen advertisement for that, and that just blows my mind that something can spin it so fast that it just pulverizes it into some sort of creamy soup. It's really amazing. You can tell that I don't own a Vitamix. maybe this Amazon Prime Day.
Look on the Amazon Prime.
All right. So we did already go ahead and
we need a third bowl here, don't we?
We do. We need to. Misty will need a plate. We did already go ahead and pre-cook our barley. So again, I just used 1 cup of broth. I do like making my grains with at least 1 cup of broth because it gives it a little extra flavor. To add cauliflower to this, you could easily do the cauliflower rice, which is in a steamer, in a steamer bag too. If you didn't want to put it in there or trying to keep it extra low calorie. We did also use the light coconut milk since there is a decent amount of saturated fat in coconut. And we do want to be mindful of that both for cardiac reasons and for diabetes and blood sugar management reasons. So that saturated fat can really start to clog up our cells, which prevent the way that sugar is able to get into our cells from our bloodstream. If it's left in our bloodstream, then unfortunately that means our blood sugar is going to stay high. But coconut milk can be a great flavoring agent, and we're dividing this among multiple people, so it'll be even less. It can be a nice creamy way to.
I'm going to hold this up one more time.
Yeah, look at that.
So hopefully you can see inside.
Great.
I mean,
do we
Kerri's
need a serving spoon? Should I get the?
We do.
Yeah, let me go.
Well, I guess that'll make a mess.
Okay, yeah, let me go get.
So there are a lot of different kinds of curry, and some of them different colors. I generally like the very spicy curry.
Okay.
Stuff, and I'll throw red pepper flakes in here too. And
that's what I was gonna ask.
A nice kick to it.
Let's see, I do have a little bit of some spicy. This is called togarashi. Have you ever used this before?
I don't think so.
I keep looking for other reasons to use it.
Okay,
when we actually had, you can smell it. It doesn't smell like anything that much, but chili pepper, sesame seed, red pepper, orange peel, poppy seed, parsley, white pepper, and ginger. So a lot of these similar things that we're using.
Combination, yeah.
Yeah, and this is when
you might be able to use this spoon.
We had Matt Lyden here, and he did fermentation. He used this in kimchi, and I had never even heard of it before. So,
do you want to hold that bowl, and I will pour? That might be.
Sure.
Want to spill anything?
Oh my gosh. I would eat the barley warm. The question was, should you eat your barley cold, hot, warm, what? And when it's cold, it starts to stick together. So there is a decent amount of starch that comes out of it, which is okay. That's why I like using something like this with a sauce where it'll actually start to break apart again and absorb all of this awesome, delicious curry sauce.
Okay.
So 1, 2.
The other thing, I generally do it with brown rice, which works perfectly as well. So another thing I got on, I think it was on sale. I told my wife that anyway. I think it was. I got a Japanese rice maker, which is amazing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have one of those, you just put everything in, and then you can add all kinds of spices and other things. I add tomatoes in there sometimes, and then you just turn it on, and then it just automatically turns off when it's finished, and it has a warmer that'll just keep it warm when it's finished, so you can just kind of leave it in there, and it always makes perfect rice too, which is good.
All right, I'm gonna recenter some of these for us. Move our knives behind you.
Clean up my mess here.
And then
guess it would help to use a sponge.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of this spicy on at least one of them about that.
So if you happen to be in the building, if you want to run down and come and join us, we do have some more left.
We do. We've got it probably. We have no more barley, but you're more than welcome to just stick your spoon right into this big stock pot full of curry. Well, I feel like I need to try it on live TV because it smells really good.
Oh, yeah.
Let me mix all this together. I guess I should show everyone this first, huh, Misty? All right. So here is our beautiful bowl. There we go. Of curry. Thank you for coming to do this, Paul.
That was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Delicious. I can really taste it tastes like it's anti-inflammatory, which is probably only something a dietitian would say, but you can just tell that there are all sorts of really fresh aromatic compounds going on there. So the ginger, the turmeric, delicious. Any questions for Paul? I should have gotten a fork.
You know, another thing I think that would be great in here is cut up pineapple.
Oh yeah.
And like peanuts or something.
Yeah.
And I think that would be.
I think I meant to bring peanuts, but I like the idea of the crunchy on top of the sweetness from the mango, the savory, the spicy. Did you want to try some of the spicy action going on? And any questions? No? All right. Well, we really appreciate you joining us for April's Veg Edge. I can't thank you enough for coming, Paul. This is great. And this is going to be added to my recipe staples as well. So we love to hear from you if you have recipes or if you're curious about any types of dishes and would like us to prepare some of them here.
And I have a lot of links that of some of my favorite websites that I go to that have a lot of topics. So I actually emailed it to you this morning. If people have questions, you can forward it to them, or we can post some online or whatever that works. So it's really good. So
we'll go ahead and send an email out.
I like to take photos of some of the food, as you know.
Yes. Yeah.
First 6 months or so that I came in this, I was always texting, look what I made. You know?
He takes beautiful photos. Food photography can be your backup plan, but we do eat with our eyes, and so the more colorful you can make something, the better it just ends up tasting. So curry is definitely one of those easy things that I feel like can be almost like the kitchen sink. So you didn't have to use chickpeas. You could have used any other types of beans. If you didn't have any one of those spices, maybe with the exception of curry powder, if you wanted to pick one, you probably want to make sure you have the curry powder in this to get those flavors. But otherwise, you could ebb and flow. I actually use nutmeg a lot instead of cloves because I never seem to have cloves. So it's a similar enough taste, even though they're very different spices, but I feel like it gives you a similar enough taste. So that's, as you find a recipe that you like to begin with, you'll start to get more comfortable in adapting it with what you have. And so that's all part of this too.
That's part of the fun thing. Just, okay, we got this vegetable, let's throw that in there, or spice, or just trying different things. And sometimes you go, oh, I have a habit, I added too much of this time, you know, so but you learn and then
exactly
make it better all the time.
Exactly. So
thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Next month, I forgot I was going to mention very briefly, next month, for anyone very interested in knife skills and different types of knives and how you keep your knives in the best quality and shape so that they last you a long time, we've got CJ Hunter, who is our patient services manager over at Spartanburg Medical Center, that will be coming to do that. So with that, we are actually going to do salsas. So now I'm maybe feeling like we should do a mango salsa, but we're going to do homemade pico de gallos and salsas to go along with that, since there is so much chopping that goes into those, and we're getting into summer with lots of fresh options for you there. So hope you'll join us next month, and we thank everyone for being here today.